Cryptic Humility.
Hello guys, and welcome back to Cryptic Humility. My name is Vanessa Hurley. I am your host and guide, and I have just been relishing in the success of last week. If you weren't here last week, we had our first guest speaker, Christian Hamill, who came on from Bryant University to talk about his experiences in fintech, real estate, crypto, pretty much a little bit of everything, to teach us the biggest issues that are happening in the crypto market, why we're experiencing scams, fraud, pyramid schemes, and why there's such a lack of trust and education in the market, which, if you've been following us, is the whole purpose and intent of the podcast. So if you're new, happy to have you here. Each week we post education and current news, and I'm very excited to talk about the current news today because we have a Q&A question, which I'm going to put up on the screen right now, and the question is, obviously, there are many of us who want to see blockchain implemented, but do you think or believe it will happen? Let's say in the medical field and such. It seems to me that they will fight it with all they have. Transparency is bad for their profits. What do you think about this? And before I answer the question, I forgot to tell you guys that today our whole episode's intention is about Solana. So excited to talk about Solana. It is very similar to Ethereum, but also there are a lot of benefits. And the current news today, we're going to be talking about a specific company that is starting to implement blockchain. But to answer the question, last episode, me and Christian talked all about this, so I'm going to be reiterating a lot of things, but the biggest, most important thing I think to know is that crypto and blockchain, although they complement each other, are completely different entities. And I'm saying that because if crypto and digital currencies don't excel in the way we hope, that doesn't mean that blockchain technology can't thrive on its own. And I think it's important to separate them because blockchain can actually do so much good for our society right now, which I'll give you guys some examples. And crypto can do a lot of good too, because crypto is implemented into blockchain, but it's not to say that blockchain is incredibly reliant on crypto. I would say that crypto is more so reliant on blockchain. But in regards to transparency, blockchain technology demands transparency. We're in such a time right now where we're questioning government spending, we're questioning corruption happening in the government, we're questioning voting and elections, and if those are transparent. And I believe that all of these things could get solved with blockchain technology. What are the biggest issues is a lot of people aren't educated in it. So to answer the question, I do believe that this is going to create a lot of conflict for people, and I think that that's a great thing. I do think that we should be having a lot more conversations about blockchain. I think it should be taught in universities and even high school. Like, people in high school should start to get somewhat familiar of new technology that's coming in. But I think it's all about how we introduce blockchain to the world. I think where we're going to have the most conflict is in politics, for sure. Where I think we might have least conflict is in businesses, because if you look at our society, we went from tangible cash, which I know that some people still carry tangible cash and we still tip and all that stuff, but I'm more so saying we went from tangible cash to then debit and credit cards, which were in a way kind of like digital cash, but now we're truly moving to digital cash where we're seeing value in Bitcoin, Ethereum, and other digital currencies to be able to transform into cash. So I think for retail businesses, for real estate, and not to spoil it, but we are going to be talking about Visa today, which is a huge international company. Ton of people use Visa for payment transactions, like credit and debit cards, but we're going to talk about Visa today at the end of the episode for the current news to really get a grip of how they are going to be implementing and using blockchain. And basically, we're finding technology that's allowing smart contracts to do commands for us instead of humans having to verify and do things. It's like we're just moving towards a more advanced technology where the technology is working for us and making our lives faster, easier, simpler, more efficient, especially in business. So I do think that there shouldn't be a lot of conflict in regards to implementing this into businesses. I think a lot of businesses are in favor of blockchain and are starting to learn the process and how it truly works, especially Visa, which I'm very excited to talk about. The biggest conflict is going to be in the government and in politics, because we're seeing a lot of corruption right now. We're having issues in the United States with voting and needing voter ID, and to me, that's a bit of corruption going on. That we need a system where instead of mailing in ballots, we use a D-app, which is a decentralized application that allows votes to occur and happen on the blockchain. Every single vote is recorded. It can't be duplicated. It can't be changed. And we are relying on technology to be counting these votes for us instead of humans, which can lead to a lot of deception. And so transparency is not so bad for businesses unless you're doing like illegit business, which that could be a problem, but there's a lot of benefits. Like we talked in the last episode, you could use private blockchain. So if you're a global supply chain company and you need to manage your inventory and your supply, you can actually operate off a private blockchain where that would be recorded. Everything would be recorded for you. You can implement smart contracts into that. So the computer is doing commands for you instead of hiring more employees to do it for you. So I think blockchain is wonderful. I think it is needed in our society. I'm trying my best to educate more people on it, to bring awareness to it. If you are in such businesses like retail, the whole intention of blockchain too is person-to-person transactions. So you know how you could go on eBay or even Amazon and you could purchase something, but you have to work directly with the seller through Amazon or through eBay? So blockchain is now allowing you to sell an item directly to a person without needing a third-party intermediary to basically verify and confirm that that transaction did happen. So it's more independence. It's people having more ownership of their own money. And to the people, I don't think that's going to create a ton of conflict. To healthcare, like I talked about a couple episodes ago, I think it's going to help people stay on track of patient records, have true transparency in patient records. It's just going to be easier to record and track things, and it's all going to be irreversible. So there's no room for human error and there's no room for corruption. It demands transparency. Oh, okay, so another cool example is online gambling. So blockchain technology would actually demand casinos and people that work at the casinos to be more transparent with their players. So players would actually have a fairer chance of winning, or at least playing fairly, compared to these casinos that kind of make it impossible for you to win, if you will. So blockchain technology is opening the door to end corruption, even in entertainment, which I think is really cool. And obviously I am not a big gambler, but I know a lot of my guy friends are gamblers, so this could, I'm sure they might be happy to hear this, even though I don't support. But so there are a lot of benefits to blockchain. The biggest issue is to defeat evil. And in our world, we're always going to be defeating evil. We're always going to be defeating corruption, unfortunately. You know, there's a new day, new scheme. Hopefully that's not going to happen much longer in the crypto world, because I'm trying to create something that would benefit our society in protecting this space instead of so many scammers and fraud and illegitimate resources coming in, new scams, new schemes, and such. So biggest conflict we're going to experience is in politics, I think, in the government. I think it's a conversation worth having, though. I think it's a conversation we need to have, and we need to push for transparency. And we see Charlie Kirk, Candace Owens, Elon Musk, Donald Trump. We see all these people pushing for transparency, despite what some people may think. Personally, I think that moving towards blockchain, preserving freedom of speech, putting more power to the people, these are all things worth the conflict and worth fighting for. If you're looking for more into this, I would highly recommend checking out the last episode. Like I said, I know Christian talks about real estate in that. We talk a little bit deeper into voting systems and how that could help elections. We talk about retail, and we just talk about a bunch of examples of why scams happen and how this could slowly be implemented into society. And stick around, because today we're going to be talking about Visa, a huge company that is trying to implement blockchain technology with Solana. So let's talk about Solana. This is very similar, as I said, to Ethereum. So it should be a brief overview. If you haven't checked out the last episode of Bitcoin versus Ethereum, highly recommend you check out that episode. We're actually going to put in some more stats in this episode about Ethereum and Bitcoin too. So some things that I forgot to mention in those episodes will be included here. But Solana is a public blockchain. It is a public digital ledger that has dApps like NFTs, games, wealth management tools. It is exactly the same in a lot of ways as Ethereum. Ethereum is a central blockchain, a public blockchain that runs all these different kinds of dApps, decentralized applications like Solana, where there is more power to the people in regards to using social media apps and using the platform. So if, for example, we are using a social media app as a dApp, instead of having TikTok, Instagram, or YouTube run it, the people that use the platform would be running it. This is a feature that is on Solana's blockchain, and it's the same feature that's on Ethereum's blockchain. Solana came out in 2017, and in regards to consensus mechanisms, which, if you're new here, consensus mechanisms are the ways in which we verify and confirm transactions that are happening on the blockchain, the user, because since it's all decentralized on the blockchain, meaning there's not one central organization that's running everything, monitor everything, and checking the legitimacy of transactions. It's up to the users. It's up to the validators, which we'll talk about in a moment, who the validators are. But validators are confirming and verifying transactions. It's the users on the blockchain that are validating those things. And between Ethereum and Solana, they both use proof of stake. So in consensus mechanisms in the last episode that I talked about, we were mentioning and discussing consensus mechanisms, how they work, how they operate, the different kinds. And proof of stake is if I am a person that is transacting on the blockchain, if I have X amount of money and I'm dumping it into XRP or Ether or wherever I'm dumping it, the more money that I am dumping into the blockchain, the more the blockchain may choose me to be a validator. Because since I have so much skin in the game on the blockchain is deeming me a trustworthy source, a trustworthy person in validating transactions, because a lot is on the line for me. So the blockchain kind of understands that, and you could get chosen as a validator to be confirming and verifying transactions. We talked that in time, this could be an issue because if you have a ton of money and then you're chosen, when you're chosen as a validator, you can get rewards for being chosen as a validator and validating and confirming transactions. One of those rewards is native coins. So if we're validating transactions on Ether's blockchain and we're chosen as a validator, or even Solana because they operate the same, if we're chosen as a validator and we're verifying transactions, we get more native coin. In a way, it's just saying that the rich are getting richer. Because if I don't have a decent amount of money and I'm still operating and using Ethereum's blockchain, but my friend who has X amount more than me is chosen, it's just kind of unfair. It can lead to centralization with validators if there aren't terms. So if there isn't a certain term that somebody could be a validator. Same thing operates on Solana, so a lot of comparisons are going to be done today between Solana and Ethereum. And one of the biggest differences with Solana is that Solana uses proof of history. We didn't talk about proof of history in our consensus mechanisms episode, but proof of history is just confirming the time frames of each verification, each transaction that's verified. We're verifying the passage of time in between transactions to confirm that they did legitly happen. What it does is it just confirms proof of stake faster. So as validators are confirming transactions through proof of stake, proof of history is then working behind the scenes to calculate when these things were confirmed, what was the time frame between in which they were confirmed, and it kind of helps move faster. Why that is because Ethereum and Bitcoin don't necessarily have a clock. They don't operate on a set time that things need to be validated. They do in a way, and we're going to talk about it in a little bit, but you'll see when we talk about Visa that Solana's blockchain offers way faster transaction times because of proof of history, because it's looking into the time and making sure that we're staying on track, like we're timed for the amount of transactions that get approved per second, per minute, per hour, compared to Ethereum and Bitcoin, which are more time loose And they, like, Bitcoin takes 6 different times to truly confirm a transaction. Ethereum is confirming less transactions per second because of proof of stake. So proof of history is just allowing the consensus to happen faster, tracking the time that it is getting confirmed, and keeping us on time for when things need to be confirmed and verified as the user, as the validator. Solana's goal in regards to verifying transactions is to be able to verify 800,000 transactions per second, which is crazy because right now it's only operating at its highest demand at around 2,000 transactions per second. Looking into this a little bit deeper, Solana's blockchain for one block takes 0.4 of a second to confirm, compared to Ethereum, which Ethereum needs about 12 blocks and 3 minutes to confirm. So that process of confirming 12 blocks in 3 minutes is kind of a long process compared to Solana, where it's just one block confirmed, one block confirmed. Another really good thing about Solana is that it offers parallel processing. So in blockchain, we know that we're seeing every single block in a sequence. We're seeing every single block in a sequence, and it's confirmed by sequence. This block's confirmed, this block's confirmed, this block's confirmed, and it goes in that cycle. What Solana can do is use parallel payment processing, which is confirming 2 blocks at a time. And as long as these 2 blocks are not connected in regards to the person's information, their data, where they're located, as long as there's no similarities, it can confirm 2 blocks at the same time, making the transaction speed 10 times faster. As of July 2023, Solana had over 2,000 validators. And sometimes what Solana will do is they'll cluster these validators into groups. So groups of validators instead of individual validators, which can just help the transaction processing too, to make sure that everybody's on the same page and consensus can be reached faster. And they have around 1,000 more nodes. So a node is just a computer that can hook up to the blockchain. So Solana has a ton of nodes that don't operate on the blockchain, meaning that they're not confirming and using smart contracts. They're not necessarily implemented into the blockchain, but they're there in case if the blockchain goes down, or we're having issues with smart contracts, or there's an issue with validators. If there's any issues in the function of the blockchain, Solana basically has backup nodes or backup computers that are helping the blockchain always function and always run no matter what discrepancies are going on the blockchain. And yeah, basically, like, if the network goes offline, for example, all these nodes can still function without losing any data. What I thought was interesting is that Solana has nodes in 40 different countries. I'll list some of the countries in the video just so you can see, but Solana is truly international in regards to, and you know, it has thought out a lot of the biggest issues. It's thought out a lot of the biggest issues in the blockchain running more seamlessly, running faster, more transactions per second. What if we do go offline? They're prepared for that. They have extra nodes that are functioning, so there's no loss in connection, there's no loss in data, there's no loss in function. So we never experience on the network any trafficking or any jams or any kind of blockages that are preventing us from having the blockchain run seamlessly, having the liquidity in the blockchain continue to flow. I, in the video, will also tag some NFTs and some dApps that operate on Solana's blockchain. Maybe we'll go over a couple of them. We did go over a couple dApps for Ethereum. I'm sure that there are similar dApps that run on Solana, but absolutely we can talk about them. If you guys have any questions, definitely let me know. All right, let's switch gears really quickly. I want to talk about the native coin to Solana, which is Sol. And it's short for Solana. So Solana has a native coin called Solana, but it is referenced as Sol. And Solana also operates with crypto exchanges, so you can buy, sell, trade crypto on Solana's blockchain. You can use Sol as an intermediary to those payments if you're looking to transfer funds and whatever it may be. But let's take a moment. I'm going to read you the stats. And if you have been following the podcast, you know the drill. You can pull up your Coinbase app. I'm going to type in Solana and I will read you guys some of the stats to see what is going on. Looks like it's doing pretty good right now. I don't know if I mentioned this, but the only advantage really Ethereum has over Solana is that it has first movers advantage. So Ethereum was created first. I'll drop in the video the exact year that it was created, but it has scaled a little bit more than Solana. But the one thing that Solana has on Ethereum is transaction time, which for companies like Visa and other credit card companies, and you'll see, I'm going to list some examples as well, but that's a huge advantage for Solana for people to actually implement and use the blockchain. Who has time to create 12 different blocks? And blocks on a blockchain are like multiple transactions. They're not just one transaction typically. They can be a time frame of set transactions. So like if I did 20 transactions today, that would be maybe one block. One block. It depends on the storage of the block and the blockchain that you're using, but for this reference only, we'll say that I have 20 transactions that I did today, and that's in one block. So it could take me, per se, 12 days of transactions worth, and it would take 3 minutes at the end of that to confirm. And obviously, I'm just giving you guys examples. This is like not entirely accurate because transactions are happening 24/7 on the blockchain with thousands of people, so it's not just my transactions. But as you can see, that's a lot slower than me having one block and that getting approved immediately. And then if my friend has a block and we have no similarities, we can both get approved at the same time. So even though Ethereum was created first, Solana has that advantage of speed. And honestly, if it has speed, it can catch up to Ethereum pretty quick. All right, let's go into these stats. So Solana Sol has a market cap of 64.6 billion. It has a volume of 2.3 billion. It has a circulating supply of 512 million. Its all-time high was actually, I'm shocked, was actually in January of 2025. So its all-time high was actually 3 months ago at $294.85. And actually, I have my Solana staked. So also in the staking process is if you stake your crypto, you can earn rewards, like I told you. Sometimes those rewards are just cash back. And I just been staking my Solana. I don't have a ton of money into it, but as of today, I've earned around $3 just staking my Solana, and I didn't put that much into it. So I think it does pretty well. And I trust Solana, Ethereum, Bitcoin, because these are the biggest cryptocurrencies. These aren't just like altcoins that are coming out every day. These are cryptocurrencies and blockchains that have the potential to scale and grow and impact our society, businesses, the government, institutions, nonprofits, all these different kinds of entities. It could benefit and help people work smarter, not harder, and just solve massive issues that we're experiencing with corruption. So yeah, if you stake your Solana on, I'm using Coinbase, but if you stake your Solana, you can earn rewards, and sometimes those rewards are cash back. Speaking of, so I'm looking at this right now, the staking rewards earn 5.12% annual percentage yield. That's really good. If you go to a bank and you want to open a CD, most banks, you need to have an extremely high balance to earn back interest. You have to have like $250,000 at Chase Bank to get like 3% back. So to get basically 5% back on Solana for staking your coin, for entrusting in the blockchain and risking your investment just a little bit, you can actually earn some serious interest back. Obviously, it depends too. How much money are you staking? The more reward you'll get, and you might even be deemed as a validator. Solana's price is $126.16 right now. So Solana's value is $126.16. And I'm looking into Ether. Okay, so the staking rewards for Ether are 1.99 annual percentage yield. So in Ethereum, you're not getting that much more. Solana offers huge rewards in regards to staking and believing in the blockchain, putting trust into the blockchain, being a validator, helping the blockchain remain legit. You can earn serious rewards. So that's like almost 4% more of a return that you could be getting using Solana than you could using Ethereum. And the payments and processing is 10 times faster. So it's like the approval time, the consensus mechanism is a little bit better than especially Bitcoin. I'm not even going to get into it with Bitcoin with you guys because Bitcoin transactions are a lot slower. Crypto mining is a lot of energy usage. It's a lot of computing power. And this kind of operates in a more free-flowing way where we're not using so much energy consumption, which in the United States right now, we're trying to lower energy costs. So, all right, guys, we're going to close out this episode by talking about Visa. Long awaited to talk about Visa. We finally made it to the end of the show. I want to say that I did some research on Visa because I, to be honest, didn't know when they originated. But so Visa originated in 1958, but it was originally called a Bank of America card. So it was the first credit card program that really ever came out. And then in the 70s, they rebranded it to be called Visa. In this current moment, Visa can process 65,000 transactions a second. As we were talking about Solana in its highest demand right now can only process around 2,000 transactions per second. And they are trying to scale Solana to eventually be able to process 800,000 transactions per second. So obviously this is very interesting to Visa because Visa is looking to be able to scale how many transactions. They're looking to grow their business. So as they're looking to grow their business, they're going to have to be able to process payments and transactions that are happening internationally and in the United States a lot faster. So they need blockchain, they need smart contracts, they need better technology to be able to do this for them. And also just more transparency. It'll be so much easier to keep record of which transactions happened when because they use proof of history. It will be so much easier to process transactions faster because they use parallel payment processing compared to Ethereum. They can process things so much faster. Their transactional speeds are 10 times faster. So Visa is looking into Solana currently to be their payment processing network, if you will. This blockchain may become their payment processing network. And as it scales to be able to do transactions faster, it's going to offer a world for Visa to continue to grow. What also is super important to mention about Visa is they offer tap to pay, they offer click to pay, and now they're offering tokenization. So when you go to make a payment or tap your card, instead of, if you're tapping it at CVS, instead of CVS being able to store that credit card or transact that credit card and receive those numbers, they're now going to only be able to receive a token. And that token is going to be encoded with your information, but it won't be easily accessible. It won't be transmittable. There's going to be no way that anyone that you send a payment to, whether it's click to pay or tap to pay, is going to be able to get your credit card information, your credit card numbers. Now it's going to be concealed and protected in tokenization. And I think that that is brilliant, especially with all the credit card schemes that go on. What's actually funny, I wasn't going to talk about this, but down the street at Cumberland Farms, I have been so heavily suspicious that they are using one of those credit card fisher things where you can put it over the credit card processor when you're going to pay. And some people can discover if you rip it off that they're stealing people's credit card information. I'm not saying that I think my theory is correct, but for sure, in those types of situations, using tokenization, companies and fraud schemes like that would no longer be able to operate and thrive because they wouldn't be able to decode the token. So I think that's really cool too. So not only is Visa moving towards Solana for transactions and using that network to operate Visa, but also they're looking into tokenization, which is encryption of your credit card. So you're not going through these issues of getting scams or having your credit card information be phished, if you will, through convenience stores and kind of liquor stores and unfortunately, not to stereotype, but places you might expect to get scammed or have your credit card info stolen. So I think that's a brilliant thing that Visa is doing too. So back to this Q&A question of how are we going to implement this? Is this going to create so much conflict? I think Visa and companies like Visa that are huge companies that are looking for easier, faster way to process transactions, looking for more transparency when they're trying to sort through transactions, I don't think there's any conflict here. I think this is a brilliant idea, and I love that Visa is pro-crypto and just pro-blockchain, because those two things are different, but they're pro-blockchain. They see that this is an innovation that could better their business, expand their customer base, offer faster transactions for people and just offer easier business function for themselves in regards to sorting and organizing and finding transactions, which 65,000 transactions per second is already crazy. Can you imagine 800,000 transactions per second? That is going to offer so much business to Visa just by using blockchain and having their business work smarter, not harder. Right now, as I said, Solana can only process 2,000 transactions per second at its highest demand. Bitcoin and Ethereum can't even process 100. So Bitcoin and Ethereum combined cannot process over 100 transactions per second. So really, this is just to show that if you need payment processing, if you're a company that's looking into payment processing or whatever it may be, you're going to want to operate kind of like Solana. If you have a lot of transactions, if you have a lot of classes, for example, or whatever it is, whatever your business is, Solana is a good opportunity if you need fast transactional times, fast payment processing. And actually, Ripple offers payment processing too. If I have some time in this video, I will put in how fast payments are processed on Ripple too, so we can kind of compare together right now Ripple versus Solana, which one is better. Because Ripple is really truly for payment processing as well internationally. They offer lower gas fees, and that's actually another huge thing is because Solana's transactions are happening so much faster because they're using proof of history and they're operating on a clock. There's less traffic. There's less clutter. There's the reason why Ethereum and Bitcoin have higher gas fees, which are just transactional fees. The reason why those fees are so much higher is because there are higher chances of transactions on Ethereum and Bitcoin getting like trafficked, meaning there's just there's too many transactions happening at once and they're not getting verified fast enough to kind of deduct the traffic that's going on the blockchain. Because Solana has virtually no traffic ever, it offers for lower transaction fees. There's less stress on the blockchain, there's less stress, transactions happen seamlessly, and as a reward, we're getting less transactional fees. Visa is doing 10 times more than just what I mentioned in this video today. I'm gonna share Visa's link, this link where I got all this information from, for you to check out. You absolutely should look into Visa and see everything that they're trying to implement outside of blockchain, even with crypto. They're offering so many different things that I simply just could not put in this video because it would take us all day. But truly, check out the link in the description of this video so you guys can learn a little bit more and do your homework on the future of Visa. But businesses are already implementing blockchain. Businesses are already looking at this technology to better their company, to make their company function more seamlessly. So to say that we're going to be experiencing a lot of conflict, we may be experiencing conflict with corrupt people who don't want transparency, who don't want honesty, but there are a lot of huge institutions and huge companies like Visa that see blockchain as an opportunity to seriously put them ahead of their competitors, scale their business 10 times more, and make their business functions 10 times easier. And it's like, as a business, who wouldn't want that? Thank you guys so much for watching this podcast episode. If there are any questions, let me know. If there's anything that I missed, definitely let me know and I can answer your question in the next podcast episode. You can leave a comment or a question directly below on Spotify and on YouTube. If you have any questions, I usually answer them in the next episode. So this person reached out and I answered it in the following episode. Please stay tuned. We have so much more to talk about and we're only getting started with blockchain and crypto. Thank you guys. My name is Vanessa Hurley. I hope you have a great week and we will talk on Monday. Thank you.